Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to Bella Coola, British Columbia. The beautiful small town sits at a remote and rugged valley known for its stunning mountain scenery, temperate rainforests, and abundant wildlife. The region is home to majestic Sitka spruces, western hemlocks, and red cedars, with understories of salal, salmonberry, and devil's club. Berry bushes like huckleberry, elderberry, and blueberry are common, providing sustenance for both wildlife and humans. This rich natural environment is also a habitat for grizzly bears, a species that commands respect and caution. On October 24, 2018, 54-year-old Lawrence Michalchuk had just about reached his limit with a sow grizzly and her 3 cubs who had recently taken up residence across the road from his home. He was an experienced outdoorsman and father of 2 children. Lawrence had spent 35 years working in fisheries and living amidst Bella Coola's wilderness. His property was surrounded by dense forest and protected by an electric fence, primarily installed to safeguard apple trees from wildlife. During Michalchuk's recent absence, the sow and her cubs had begun frequenting the yard, growing increasingly territorial. Whenever Lawrence pulled up in his driveway, the sow would chuff and make herself known, but not leave after Lawrence went inside the house, despite having the opportunity to depart. Upon returning home from a recent work trip, Lawrence learned from his in-laws that attempts to scare the bears away had been unsuccessful. Concerns about the bears staying so close to the family home began to ratchet up after Lawrence's 8-year-old daughter reported watching the bears walk through their yard from a window in the home. She knew the bears were a threat, so she couldn't do anything to frighten them away, and given Lawrence was away, he couldn't deal with the bears until he returned home. Tension around the home had increased dramatically after discovering the presence of the grizzlies, and even more so when they would not leave. The powerful predators were unpredictable, so Lawrence made sure to discuss how to avoid a confrontation with the bears with his family. In the back of his mind, he knew if the bears didn't leave soon, he would be forced to do something drastic to protect his property and family from their danger. The encounter began early in the morning on Wednesday, October 24, 2018, when Michalchuk stepped outside to confront the bears. He'd had enough of the bears threatening his family, and finally decided he had only one course of action. He had to confront the bears with lethal force and be prepared for their reaction to his behavior. His wife recorded the events on video from the relative safety of the porch. Wearing a bright orange shirt and armed with a 12-gauge shotgun loaded with birdshot, Michalchuk first tried yelling and firing a warning shot. When the bears didn't depart immediately, he worked the action of the shotgun and fired a second warning shot into the air. He hoped this was all it would take to frighten the bears away, but soon found out that the bears had other plans. The sow, undeterred by the roar of Lawrence's shotgun, began to charge. This was the scenario Lawrence most feared would happen when he confronted the bears. He knew that the sow would cover the distance between them in very little time, and his actions in the next few seconds would either persuade her to leave, or she would attack him and possibly kill him in front of his family. As Lawrence backpedaled across his gravel driveway, he lifted the butt of the stock of his shotgun to his shoulder and aimed in the bear's direction. He knew the birdshot he had loaded into his shotgun wouldn't impart enough power to kill the sow quickly, and she would have plenty of time to rip him apart, even while severely injured. Quickly drawing a bead on the sow's front leg as she charged him, Lawrence squeezed the trigger, sending hundreds of small lead pellets streaking toward the sow. As he watched, the sow stretched her front paws out for another bound toward him, when he could see the blast from his shotgun cause a ripple of energy to travel across her front leg. Hoping to frighten the grizzly more than kill her, aiming at her front leg seemed like a good idea, and the effect it had was enough to trip the sow. She fell onto her face twice in rapid succession. Taking the sow's tumble as an opportunity to dash back toward his home, Lawrence raced toward his wife as she continued to film the altercation. The video wouldn't pass YouTube guidelines, so I've posted a link to it on my Patreon link below for your review. Now having been rattled by the sow, Lawrence slammed the door behind him after he and his wife entered. The picture of the sow's open mouth as she charged toward him was etched into his mind, even in the safety of his home. Watching through the windows, Lawrence and his wife watched the sow Grizzly walk back toward her cubs and round them up. The bears quickly made their way into the woods and away from the Michalchuk home. Following the incident, Lauren's wife posted the video footage to social media. The storm of criticism that followed was a worse mauling than the Grizzly could have given. Viewers slammed Lawrence for confronting the sow, despite her aggressive behavior. They claimed the presence of the cubs should have been enough to help him work on another solution other than confronting the bears with a firearm. Lawrence was not one to take the criticism laying down. He fired back that the safety of his children and wife was paramount to him, so he had no choice but to drive the bears away. Following the incident, the British Columbia Conservation Officer Service launched a thorough investigation. I could find no source indicating the conclusions of their investigation, but due to the grizzly's aggressive behavior, likely Lawrence didn't face any charges or citations for his actions to drive the bears away. If there was an animal carcass cached nearby, the bear's reluctance to leave would make some sense. The sow's reaction to Lawrence's confrontation made sense in that she was defending her cubs from a perceived threat. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. British Columbia is home to approximately 15,000 grizzly bears, one of the largest populations in North America. The Bella Coola Valley is a hotspot for bear activity, particularly during the fall when bears forage for salmon and fruit. Despite their size and strength, grizzly bear attacks on humans are rare, with fewer than 10 incidences reported annually across Canada. Most conflicts arise when bears become habituated to human environments, just like the bears that moved into Michalchuk's yard. The events in Bella Coola underscore the complexities of coexisting with wildlife in remote areas. While Lawrence Michalchuk's actions were controversial, they highlighted the difficult choices residents must make to ensure their safety. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Should Lawrence have contacted wildlife officers to remove the bears, or was he justified in confronting them on his own? Was the behavior of the sow foreshadowing of an imminent attack on Michalchuk's family? How do you think you would handle 4 grizzly bears taking up residence in your yard and refusing to leave? To me, that is a nightmare scenario. I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.